So, ladies and gentlemen, I put these essential reforms before you for your approval, and I will present each reform in turn, and if anyone wishes to speak on the proposals or ask any questions, I will call them before taking a vote. That is democracy. Right, the 7 steps. And you have it in your leaflet. And the first one is that the constitution of the party is so that the chairman of the party board, i.e. the party chairman, 2 deputy chairmen, treasurer, chairman of the candidates committee and chairman of the policy forum to be officers of the party on the party board and should all be elected by and accountable to party members and to present annual reports to an annual general meeting to which all party members are invited. The accounts of the party should be adopted at that annual general meeting. And the clause which I just mentioned, Article 17, which gives power to the party board to do anything which in its opinion relates to the management and administration of the party, should be deleted, and the party board should have a majority of voluntary party members. Any questions or any points? No? Well, in that case, I'll go straight to a vote. All those in favour? Sorry, where's the question?
Annual general meeting.
Yes?
If we're going to increase the number of people in the party, and going to an annual general meeting is difficult for a lot of people. So what is being placed before the annual general meeting should be disseminated individually to each of the members.
Yes.
Rather than have a meeting with resolutions. No.
It will be, and it always used to be prior to 1998.
Well, this should be written in. That it
and it will all be shown on by Zoom. The meeting will also be on Zoom. So we will involve much more than just those people who are in attendance.
All I'm saying is that it should be written in that this must happen.
Yes, I have written that into these changes.
Okay.
Yep. Any other points or questions? Right. Those in favour? And those against? Passed and MCOM. Thank you. The next one is the party constitution should be capable of being changed by a motion at the annual general meeting of the party by party members on the basis of 1 member, 1 vote, and the change would require a 60% majority of those voting. Any points or questions? No?
Yes, there's one
Yes.
here.
Sorry, there's a chap in the middle there.
I think actually it should be only capable of being changed. So where we possible should be capable of only be changed.
Yes, I think that point.
And can I say, how long would people have to have been members when they get a vote? We don't want a load of insurgents suddenly joining the party a week before a vote and then making up that 60%.
No, well, the normal rules within the party is that you've got to be a member for 3 months before you're able to vote on any of these things. Yes?
Because I think it's a great bill, but I also think that the party members should be also eligible, people are eligible to vote in a general election, because you can be a member for 3 months and be in an overseas place and not be eligible to vote in a general election.
I'm not quite sure what I...
But you want to take it away and then...
well, I'm not quite sure what the point is you're getting at.
And what the point I'm actually getting at is the fact that, yes, be a party member, but also, if you're an overseas party member, you may not actually be eligible to vote in a general election, and you could actually swarm the membership from overseas members, and that is not democracy.
Right, you've raised an extremely good point, and I have covered it in the alterations so that no longer will foreign residents of the UK who are not eligible to vote in the UK general election, no longer will they be allowed to be members of the party and have a vote in these, on these matters. I've covered that point. It's a very important one because there were lots of rumours about different nationalities swarming the party and becoming members and then voting in the leadership election, and they weren't even UK residents. So if you're foreign and in that country, you can't. Yes?
My thought is you are potentially setting yourself up for a trap if you insist on a super majority for change. How can we stand as a party to accept that a 52% majority is good enough for constitutional change in Britain as a whole, but a simple majority isn't good enough for us?
It's a fair point, and there's considerable discussion as to what level. What you do want is to ensure that when you change the constitution, it's going to be a lasting change, and it's not just going to be a result of an immediate explosion on a particular point where suddenly you can just get more than 50%. And I think it's fairly standard practice in most organisations to insist that constitutional changes should be supported by most organisations go for 66%. So I've reduced it down to 60%. And so I think I'm trying to cover both areas. But it's one of those things you just have to make a judgment on. Yes?
Can I second the proposal for the insertion of the word only?
Yes, I've got that.
Yes, please.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Any other points? Well, I'll take that amendment first. All those, sorry, there's one over there waving.
Have you got proposals, a minimum level of voting? You know, so you've got to have more than 25,000.
I did consider that, but what we're hoping to do is to allow members who can't attend the annual general meeting to be able to participate by a Zoom meeting. So then starting to assess about numbers present becomes pretty impossible because we want those people who are attending by Zoom to also have the ability to vote. So I had to eliminate that present condition.
No, not present. Total votes cast for the proposal. Voting somebody says, I want to change the constitution.
Well, they've got to get 60%
Of those
of those voting, yes.
There's only 5,000 people voting.
Well, that's really, democracy, isn't it?
Well, but I mean,
You don't say to an MP, look, unless you get so many votes, you can't become the MP in the constituency.
yeah, but you run the risk that somebody introduces a proposal, only 5,000 people bother to vote. If he gets 3,000 in a party with 180,000 members.
Well, that's assuming that the party members are, fairly lazy and don't bother to look at any of these things. I don't think that's realistic. Any other points? In which case, I will take the amendment first.
One more.
Sorry?
Could I suggest,
Oh, sorry.
could I suggest that it could be a postal or online voting system instead?
I have included for both postal and online voting within the changes that we're putting forward. Yes. Right.
Got one more.
Sorry, I've got to keep on now. I've got to move on because.
Yeah, if
Yes.
we use 60%, it makes the Brexit vote look silly.
The Brexit vote was a national vote, whereas here we're talking about an internal party vote. I think there is a big difference. Right, I will take the amendment first of inserting only, must be capable of only being changed. So all those in favour of the amendment? And any against? Right, the amendment's carried. So now the substantial motion, including the amendment, are all those in favour? And those against? One against. Well, sorry, three, four against, all right? Okay, let's move on. Constituency associations should have the right to determine who their Conservative parliamentary candidate is with minimum interference by CCHQ. This includes both selecting and deselecting candidates and selecting or deselecting members of Parliament. Any member of the party should be able to apply to be a candidate, and local candidates, i.e. those residents of the constituency, should be invited for interview by the Executive Council. Where a constituency association passes a motion of no confidence in their MP at a general meeting, they should be able to immediately start the process of selecting a new parliamentary candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the position of the party right up until 1998. So for over 100 years, that was precisely the score regarding the rules for selecting candidates. The constituencies were autonomous. So there were no rules as to what could or could not be done. And Central Office in 1998 or in 1997 were so cheesed off that Neil Hamilton stood for Tatton and then lost, that they then wanted to bring in this control of candidates, and it's been a total and utter disaster. So, any points or any questions?
Okay.
Yes?
Can I suggest adding the for interview by the local executive council, i.e. the association's executive council, to make it very clear.
By the local executive council?
Yeah, or the association's executive council.
Association. Within the changes I've got, the association executive council. Okay, yes, Louise?
Thank you. Sorry, I've got a couple of questions actually. One's just a clarification. The first one, you say that anybody can apply to stand for a candidate. Is that anyone can apply that's on the approved candidates list, or anybody can apply full stop from the association?
No. Anybody can apply, and if they go through the process, the round of selecting the candidates, if they get to the point where they're going to the final round, then they have to be vetted by Conservative Central Office, who do due diligence on that person, and to ensure that they're not mad, bad or sad. In the meantime, of course, the members, we're opening the whole thing up so that the members know who the candidates are, and they can be also doing their own due diligence on the candidates. Unlike, for example, at the last general election in Beaconsfield, when we were selecting a candidate, we weren't allowed to know who the candidates were until we arrived at the meeting on the Saturday morning. And we're not allowed to have any discussion on the candidates at all. I mean, this is just secrecy and power grabbing gone mad. It was never the case before. Before 98, it was totally open and transparent. All we're doing is getting back to that situation.
Sorry, if I can just come back on that. What it actually says in here, then, is that if local candidates from the constituency apply, they'll actually be interviewed by the local executive council.
Yes.
Now, personally, I think that's a great idea, just to open it up for all candidates, not necessarily just limiting it to those on the approved candidates list, because it gives us a chance to actually produce genuine local candidates in areas that will help us win seats, especially some of the marginal ones and some of the ones where we've got smaller associations. The other question I've got on this, where it says about deselecting an MP or potential parliamentary candidate, it says that a motion of no confidence in their MP in a general meeting, would that be an executive meeting, and would then that need to be ratified by the whole association?
A general meeting of the whole association takes that decision.
That would be once a year, basically, that you'd have the whole association.
No, you can call a special general meeting at any time.
So
If you've got the right...
The executive could call that meeting and hold...
Well, the members themselves can call it a special general meeting.
Okay. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Any other? Oh, sorry.
There's a lady here.
Why you have said that local candidates, i.e. those who are resident in the constituency, surely the association should be able to choose whoever they wish, never mind if they're resident in the constituency. Why have you limited it to that? Whereas
We're not limiting it to that, because the local association can interview anybody it wishes, whether they're local candidate, national candidate, or come from Timbuktu. All we're saying is that they have to interview a local candidate of the association. Because my experience is that when you do that, candidates are very sensible people. And if they lose, then they accept that they've lost, and they will then work very hard during the election campaign. If you ban them and don't even accept them to go for an interview, they become rather bitter and walk away.
What you're saying is that local candidates have to be interviewed. Is that what you're saying? They have to be interviewed?
Yes. Yes.
Why are you just limiting to that to people who are residents?
Well, because Beaconsfield, for example, had 300 applicants when we had a by-election to be the candidate for the Member of Parliament. And so you have to reduce the numbers down by various processes to the point where you put a certain number to a general meeting. In that process, then if any of your local association councillors wish to be considered, or local association members wish to be considered, then you at least give them the courtesy of doing an interview. Okay, I've got to move on. Sorry, I've just got to move on because I'm running out of time. So all those in favour? And those against? One against? No, not against. All right. Next one, fairly simple one, this one. Spring conference should be a policy conference where ministers would listen to members' ideas on policies in their subject area selected by motions submitted through the Executive Council of Local Constituency Associations. So that is our internal conference, if you like, where ministers actually have to listen to members' views. Yes?
John, I think the way that it's worded at the moment, it's a bit weak. But halfway through, ministers would listen to. I think we could beef it up a bit by would act on.
No, I'm not trying to get the party to be the determination of policy priority. They can let their views on policy. They are letting their views on policy known to the leadership. And then the leadership will obviously have to take condition of it. So I'm not trying to get the members determining policy in that sense. Any other points? No.
Just get the microphone down.
Can't hear.
I'm just going to get the microphone down because.
Perhaps the wording could be listen to and acknowledge, because it's very easy to listen to somebody and I don't hear you, but I'm listening to you. So I would suggest adding and acknowledge. It doesn't commit them to anything, but it does...
Well, we could... does anybody feel we should add that? No. Let's. I think we've got to move on. Those in favour of this motion number 4? And those against? Very good, excellent. Number 5, this is really saying that the party conference should go back to its position pre-1998, which was the voluntary party that actually ran and controlled the conference. And so it means that you set up a subcommittee of the party board with a majority of volunteer members, and we have motions, genuine motions for debate, and votes taken on those motions. And pre-1998, every constituency that sent in a motion, the motions were published, and they could be published on the party's website, so that we know the feeling throughout the country of the members on different issues and topics. Any points? Any questions? No? Right, going to move forward.
Great motion. I just thought one thing that we could consider adding to it is not only the party conference, but party hustings should be included within it to prevent CCHQ having complete railroading of those hustings.
Totally agree with you, and I've got that party hustings in a totally separate area relating to the election of the party leader. But the points taken, I have included in there, not in this point. Right, those in favour, number 5. Those against? Okay. Motion number 6, this is really critical, and that the rules for the election of the party leader be incorporated within the main body of the party's constitution. At the moment, they are the rules of the 1922 committee, which meets in secret. Nobody knows what's being proposed, but all that happens is that after they've decided, we're just told their decision. So we have absolutely no input into any of this at all. And that's why the original rules, when they came in after 1998, all you needed was a proposer and seconder to be nominated as a candidate, and then it gradually changed until this very last one. Suddenly they announced that you needed to have 100 nominations. Now, this is not acceptable. I mean, this is really hiding constitutional change in a secret body. And that's why it should be part of the main constitution, so that if the members wish to change things related to the leadership of the election, then they've got the ability to do so. All right? Those in favour? And those against? Good, thank you. And then the last one of this part is that a commission should be immediately set up, and in fact Central Office have already partially gone down this route by setting up some committee to look at it, to look at other proposed changes to the party constitution with the remit that it should be a democratic constitution with the emphasis on directly involving members of the party on the basis of one member, one vote, and that it should report back by a date of September 2023. So what we want to do is to cover lots of other areas of the party constitution which are undemocratic. What we have done today is to bring in the changes that are necessary for us to take back control as members of the Conservative Party. So this last one, number 7, could, any points, any questions? Yes?
I should probably have raised this on the last one, but it works equally well on this one. Having seen what happened when Corbyn was elected as leader of the Labour Party, and seen what happened recently in the Conservative Party, we need to have some sort of something in the Constitution to ensure that party leaders, particularly when we are in government, have the support of a majority of MPs to avoid problems that we've seen in the last few years.
It's a fair point, but we're going to deal with that in a moment because there will be a debate on the election of the leader as to whether it should be done by the MPs or whether it should be done, as is at the moment, by the members. So we'll come to that.
One more, John, over here.
Sorry? Yep.
Hi there. My name is Armin Bayat. I run the association in Richmond Park. I think we need to add something else to the whole the 7 points that you made. A lot of associations in the country are not run properly. We don't have the right people in place. A lot of DCMs and DCPs are just there to be on the candidates list. They don't do the work. Sadly, we had candidates elected last week outside London who do not have adequate English. And one of them was asking me if he could take his 14-year-old son with him to the council meetings. Where is Conservative Party? Why are we not overlooking this? Why we don't have rules and regulations in place saying that can we have chairmen who are actually doing their job rather than having the title?
Yes. I wholly agree with you. Sadly, because of the decline in membership, it's horrific what has actually happened to our party. People may not agree with it or accept it, but the party has mainly come down to, as a voluntary party, to councillors and their families. There are very few other members involved. And in addition to which, because of that, many of them have also become constituency chairmen and then parliamentary candidates, and they wish to pursue political careers. Well, councillors should be the local political voice of the party, and they should be answerable to the party association, the local association. And where there are persons occupying both roles, there isn't that accountability. Similarly, the MP should be the national political voice of the party at a local level. Candidates should be that voice. A parliamentary candidate shouldn't also be the chairman of the constituency. So these are issues that we're going to have to deal with, but we can only deal with as we start increasing membership. Because in many constituencies, the membership is so abysmally small. I mean, one local one I was told, with a Conservative MP, their total membership is like 10 members. I mean, this is just horrific. What has happened to the Conservative Party is been decimated. And we're going to have to develop things as we progress. So I take your point. This is why we want to have this set up to further expand the democracy in the party. I'll just say one other thing. You know, pre-98, regional officers were all elected by the regional members of the party. And there was an annual general meeting where the members in the region got together. I remember the Wessex region. And, you know, we used to get about 500 people and used to know all about what was going on in the region and how we could help with mutual aid and training sessions and all this. All that got abolished by central office. Well, we need to start looking back to some of this. Yep. Right, okay.
Can I just suggest that we just have an indicative vote on the choice of leader?
Okay.
A and B, it's because there's a lot more research to be done on it, I think, but it's helpful for to take a sounding.
Let me just take the vote on item 7. Those in favour of item 7, and those against. Yes, right. Okay. Now, thanks ever so much on that. We now got this indicative vote on the question of leadership, and basically there was no way in which everybody was going to agree, because the problem with the members electing the leader is this situation we got into where the leader lost the confidence of some of and lost the confidence vote of the MPs. So the question is should we revert back to the situation where the MPs chose the leader, if they accept our points, changes to the Constitution here, or should it be left in the members' hands And if, with certain qualifications, I mean, if the members continue to elect the leader, and then we only get one candidate, then that candidate should be forced to go through for a confirmatory vote of the membership, for example. And if it's the members that elect the leader, then it should be the members who can decide as to whether the leader should be dismissed. And what you can't have is one body deciding one thing and another body taking it away. So what we'll do then is we'll take a vote. I have to count numbers of those people who believe that the existing system, where the members elect the leader, should continue with these qualifications I mentioned. So all those in favour of the members? Right. Could I just ask, and those, the next one is, those members who are in favour of the members of Parliament getting back the vote on the leadership and being in control of it? Yes, if you make, yes, because in a minority, small.
I would distinguish between the situation where we are in government and when we're not, because I think an earlier comment was made that we don't want the membership to be completely at odds with what the parliamentary party wants. To me, the right balance there is to treat the situation where we are in government and not in government differently.
No. I think there's overwhelming in this audience. There's the people who want the members, the party to retain the right to vote for the leader of the party. But what you have done, this is really critically important, is by approving these 7 points here, we've now got the rules for the leadership of the party brought into the main body of the party. So if the members change their mind, they've now got the ability to do so, whereas previously, under the existing situation, they couldn't.